John Spot. He's doing great. He's a good guy. Yes.
Mr. Mayor, it's time.
I'd like to call this meeting to order of the regular meeting of the Mayor and Council of the City of Douglas, Arizona, November 12th, 2020 at 6 p.m. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for an invocation? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This evening we're excited to have Reverend John Collins of the Episcopal Church joining us to offer our invocation. Reverend Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I invite you to please reflect in a moment of silence, and if you so choose, to also pray with me. We invitingly ask for the blessing of God, of whom we have many understandings, that God send down upon those who hold office in this city of Douglas the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve in their offices to promote the well-being of all people, through the God who loves us all. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Thank you, Reverend Collins. Don't run away yet, because we'd love to get to know you a little bit better, and if you tell us a little bit about your ministry here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Fish. Excuse me, Fish. So yes, my name is the Reverend John Collins. I am the new vicar and priest at St. Stephen's Episcopal Church, just over there on 11th Street, the four square churches, along with the Methodist, Presbyterian, and Baptist church there. I have been here since May, so I started during this, this challenging, difficult, and exciting doesn't really describe what we're going through, but this challenging time. And I was telling the mayor, I am not a son of Douglas, but I am a grandson of Douglas. My great-great-grandparents immigrated to the United States through the court of Douglas. So I'm very proud to serve in this community, and I specifically asked our bishop to give me the opportunity to serve here because I feel I owe so much to this area from which my family came. So thank you all so much, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, for inviting me and St. Stephen's Episcopal Church to give the invocation.
Thank you, Reverend Collins. We truly appreciate it. Roll call, please.
Mayor Donald Hewish,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tempore Margaret Morales, Councilmember Mitch Lindeman,
Present.
Councilmember Dania Costa,
Present.
Councilmember Ray Shelton,
Present.
Councilmember Michael Bandenegro,
Present.
Councilmember Jose Picalva,
Here.
Interim City Manager Don Prince,
Present.
City Attorney Juan Pablo Flores,
Present.
City Treasurer Luis Pedrosa.
Present.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the record, Mayor Pro Tempore Morales is excused.
Thank you very much, Ms. Andrade. Item number 5, persons wishing to address the council in writing or verbally on any item not on the agenda. Do we have somebody?
Yes, we do have one.
Wonderful. I don't know about this, but we have a young man by the name of Abe Villarreal that would like to address us this time, and Mr. Villarreal, welcome home, and we'd love to hear from you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. My name is Abe Villarreal.
I'm Desiree Rice.
We're here just to share some of our local community efforts. and just to make you aware of them in the event that there was a possibility in the future for support or partnership. Desiree has recently been leading a group of volunteers for monthly community cleanups. We've been out there doing alleyways and different parts of downtown, and we're going to continue to do those. We have another one scheduled the first weekend of December. So we encourage anyone and everyone from the Douglas community to come out. We supply supplies and water and snacks, and we had a great time. Do you want to say anything else?
Well, and lunch is supplied also.
The second part of what we're here for is because we want to help renovate the two beautiful murals that are right here on G Avenue in the little park with the gazebo. As you know, they're an important part of downtown. They tell of our history, and they really should be a shining, colorful demonstration of the downtown area. So it's our understanding that the artist that created those murals has passed away. And so we would love to take on the efforts of renovating that and involve the youth in different parts of the community to help make that place shine again. It is really a beautiful place. You guys do a great job of upkeep there. And so we want to bring some rejuvenation to the murals because they're beautiful pieces of art. So we just wanted to make you aware of that intention, and in the event that there were any objections to that, and as we start the planning efforts for that.
I just want to say that I do frequent that park, and it is a beautiful mural, and it's really hard to see with the branches that are growing over it, and that it's kind of decaying a little bit. And I would just like to see it come back to life because somebody did some beautiful artwork there.
Excellent. Anything else?
No, that's our presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, and you will get a call next week on how we can get this done, and we really appreciate your dedication and your love for Douglas. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Also on this agenda number 5, I'd like to, I know we didn't meet yesterday on Veterans Day for a very good reason, obviously. But I'd also like to, again, on behalf of the entire staff of the city and our council, to thank all veterans for their valuable, so much valuable service which allow us to come and sit here in peace and be able to carry on in our lives and raise our families. We're eternally dedicated to each and every one of you, whether you served a minute or whether you served a lifetime. And we appreciate it. I don't know if any other council would like to say anything along that line. More than be happy to listen to it.
Mayor, I would like to,
Please, Mr. Lindeman and then Mr. Baldonado.
I would like to reiterate the thankfulness that we all feel for our veterans. I know my family background goes back to World War II and all those hard-fought campaigns back in those days, all the way up to the present Gulf Wars. And so I have a personal connection with all of this, and even my father was in the Army during Korea. And so that's been a thing of mine that I try and always remember, but it's not just one day that you remember. You remember every day for our veterans. And it's not only the veterans, but it's their families. All have sacrificed, and we are eternally grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lindeman. Very well put. Mr. Baldonado.
Being a United States Navy veteran, I just want to say God bless America and God bless all the veterans that are serving now and the ones that have served in the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baldonado. I don't know if you've noticed around town, we have a beautiful banner out front of City Hall. We have 3 other ones throughout our community. And as Mr. Lindeman so eloquently said, that it's just not one day that we remember. So we will be leaving those up for the month of November, so that, again, as a reminder, and we may pop them up during the year as a reminder that it's not just one day to be able to do that. So thank you very much. Item number 6, presentation of awards. I get a chance to, item A is League of Arizona Cities and Towns Award to Councilmember Ray Shelton. for 8 years of service to the local governing body. So I get a chance to embarrass him a little bit here and honor him for this distinguished service. And just so you know, every year the League of Arizona Cities and Towns has an annual meeting. Of course, not this year. And this is when those type of awards would be issued throughout the state of people that have served their communities valiantly as elected officials. So without further ado, the League of Arizona Cities and Towns award in recognition of 8 years of service and dedication to strong, effective local government in Arizona. Council member Ray Shelton served for 37 years to the Douglas Unified School District from July 1st, 1983 to retirement on May 21st, 2020. And in case you didn't know, he was part of the Young Teacher Program. He started at the age of 11 there at our wonderful school district. Councilmember Ray Shelton served the City Council as its 30th council member for Ward 4, appointed from November 30, 2007, serving the rest of that term through June 11, 2008. Then was elected to finish out that entire term, 2-year short term, from June 11, 2008 to June 9, 2010. And currently serves its constituents of Ward 4 as the 32nd council member since June 13, 2018. Council member Shelton currently serves as the council liaison for the Airport Authority Board. Councilmember Shelton served as the Cochise County Superintendent, Valley Union High School Superintendent, and Naco Elementary School Superintendent, and 8 years as principal and vice principal in the Douglas Unified School District. His local involvement includes membership in the Douglas Rifle and Pistol Club, Douglas Historical Society, First Baptist Church of Douglas, Gideon's International, the Douglas Airport Authority Board, and volunteering to help out for many other school and community events. I might add, I don't have the number of years that he served as a coach, both here, Bisbee, and other areas, but he has mentored and coached many, many young people throughout this area. Councilmember Shelton received a Master's of Arts in Teaching from Western New Mexico University with a major in Political Science and minor in Physical Education in 1977, and a Bachelor's of Arts in Teaching from Western New Mexico University with a major in History and Physical Education and minor in Safety Education in 1973. Other educational experience includes the University of Oregon, the University of New Mexico, University of Phoenix, Northern Arizona University, oh my goodness, Lake Torno University, and Cochise College. Mr. Shelton, it is a great honor of mine to call you a colleague and a friend, and I award you this certificate from the League of Arizona Cities and Towns, and thank you so much for your dedication and service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Big smile for the picture.
I actually like the background.
I'll just take the mask off.
I promise I won't breathe on it.
What's that? Oh.
One more.
Okay. Thank you. Before I go, it's been an honor to try my best to help the city of Douglas, and then also to all the years it's been 51 years I've been doing something. So, and I still got it in me. If things were normal, I might be subbing or doing whatever, but, I like Douglas, I love Douglas. I'm even from up on the hill. And Douglas is my home, And I appreciate this very much. Thank you.
Mr. Shelton, when you get back here to the microphone, you'll have to explain to some of these younger people of what being I'm from up on the hill means. Not to be confused with being up on Cripple Creek.
Okay, yeah, I was from Bisbee originally. And still, I love Bisbee too, but I love Douglas also. And I love Cochise County and the history of Cochise County. And when we were talking about Veterans Day, my father served in the Army during World War I and fought in many of the battles in the Black Forest in Germany and in France. My brother was at Iwo Jima, and they wanted him to even be in the picture. But he said, I don't want to be in the picture. He stood there as they took one of the most famous pictures on the hill. Then my brother also was in the Korean War, and this one brother, and when Vietnam came, he volunteered, but he had been shot and run over and stabbed so many times they didn't take him. And he was a United States Marine. And my other brother during World War II was in the Navy and served on the USS Bellatrix. And that ship was, scathed several times by the Japanese wanting to sink it, but somehow, some way, it never had that shot that would sink it. So, when I think of Veterans Day yesterday, that was in my mind. And if I would have been teaching yesterday, I would have told my students that same thing I just told you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shelton, for sharing that with us. Item 6B, Certificate of Appreciation by Councilmember Grijalva to the Douglas Area Food Bank for their continued service to the community. Councilman Grijalva.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the least I think that we can do for the food bank. I've never met a group of hardworking individuals who work way too early in the morning for me, but they're up and they're ready to feed our community. And it's, like I said, it's not just 10, 20, 30 people. There are hundreds of people that, again, it's either by car nowadays because of the pandemic or just waiting in line. It's such a needed service here, especially for those who need it here. And I just want to say thank you, and hopefully we can get Mr. Hernandez to say a few words about the food bank. But again, it's an appreciation. Usually I talk a lot. I don't know how to express my gratitude. But again, I just wanted to say thank you for everything that you do. Thank you from our community, and hopefully, again, the food bank can expand in volunteers and also in food, obviously. But thank you again for everything that you do for our community. Mr. Raul Hernandez, if you could come up. Can we get the rest of the council in the picture?
Sure.
You're all photogenic, so.
You want us down, Bruce, or?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, everybody comes dressed up.
Down here, please. One more. Then hold it.
Thank you.
Mr. Hernandez, if you would please, give us a little background information there on the Douglas Food Bank and how long you've been there, et cetera.
Mr. Mayor, Council. I've been there around 5 years and serving our community as a council member, Mr. Hall said, and it's an honor and a privilege to do so. We pride ourselves in serving our community that we love so very much. Douglas means our life, and we are privileged to serve our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, and anyone that comes through our doors. They cannot literally come through our doors right now, like Council Member Grijalva said, but we are pleased to serve whoever does come. And we are doing, we believe, God's work in our community. And we thank you for that privilege that you bestow upon us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez, should someone want to volunteer for you, do they just come down
Yes.
and just see you and?
Yes, they can just see me, I'll interview them. I go through some basic guidelines and food handling stuff.
Yep. Wonderful. Again, thank you so much for your valuable service.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Well, please.
Mr. Hernandez, could you also give us the hours on
Yes.
when they could go to volunteer?
We have our community commodity day this coming Monday, and it's from 9 to 11. Anybody that's willing and able physically to do so. And we also have our monthly distribution days are Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you show up at 7 in the morning, we appreciate that very much, so we can get prepared and sort through the food that we distribute through the food.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Item number 7, discussion decision on approval of the consent agenda items. Item A, expenditures for the month of October 2020 totaling $3,133,304.83. B, approval of meeting minutes for September 30 and October 14th, 2020. C, committee appointments and reappointments effective November 12th, 2020. Appointment to the Airport Authority Board, appointment of Mr. Carlos Fernandez, and Airport Authority Board reappointment of Mr. Bill Wendt. Transit Advisory Committee appointment of Ms. Keita Williams, Mr. Jesus Aro, Ms. Linda Jones, and Transit Authority Committee reappointment of Mr. Chris Bertries. Item D, approval of lift station bar screen / washer compactor bid award. May I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Shelton.
I recommend that we approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Mrs. Acosta, to approve the consent agenda as presented. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes?
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Valdenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Mayor votes yes, motion carries. Item number 8, discussion decision on approval of appointment of Alma Andrade as city clerk effective November 12th, 2020. As far as a little bit of background information, we interviewed candidates for the city clerk position, at which time it was we felt as a council that one candidate was to be offered that position, and that is Ms. Alma Andrade, our current interim city clerk. She has been acting in that particular capacity since January something or another of 2020. And at this time, I would again recommend that my screen's acting up. We did thank you. I got her here now. We decided on a salary of $66,500, which she has accepted pending council approval, with a possibility of a 5% increase in 2 years based on job performance. And we're excited to be able to go forward and progress at this point in time with her as a city clerk. May I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Shelton.
I recommend that we appoint Alma Andrade as city clerk for the city of Douglas effective November 12th, 2020.
Mr. Shelton, could I ask you to please put in there the salary?
Oh, and that the salary of $66,000 with,
500, 66,500.
what's that?
66,500.
Oh, $66,500, and that in 2 years, there's a possibility of a 5% raise.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Mr. Baldenegro, to appoint Ms. Alma Andrade as city clerk of the city of Douglas with a salary of $66,500 effective November 12th, 2020, with a 5% salary increase in 2 years. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Councilmember Grijalva,
One of the hardest working individuals and the kindest person I've met, yes.
Councilmember Baldenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Mayor votes yes. Motion carries, and great to have you on board. 100%.
thank you. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, if I may, just say a couple of words, please. Thank you for the trust and support, and for the opportunity to continue to work with you as your next city clerk. I look forward to work with the new administration and hopefully move the city forward in any capacity that we can. And if I may approach the council with a fist.
You sure may.
And Jermix. Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Shelton. Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Item number 9, discussion decision on approval of third reading of ordinance number 20-1122. An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the sale of a semi-improved parcel of land located on the 900 block of 2nd Street, namely lots 11 and 12, within parcel number 409-14-093C, to Joseph L. Garcia and Maria de la Luz Garcia, husband and wife, pursuant to terms entered into by the parties, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Mr. Flores, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is the third and final reading on the sale of property to Mr. and Mrs. Garcia for lots 11 and 12, neighboring their property. The sale price is $12,500, and they're going to be getting issued a right of first refusal for the remaining lots on that property at the price of $20,000. There's 4 lots remaining, and we plan to do an in-house closing on this, and it should be finalized within 30 days after prospective approval this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. May I have a motion?
Mayor,
Yes.
that the mayor and council approve the third reading of ordinance number 20-1122 by number and title only.
Motion by Mr. Baldenegro. Second? Second by Mrs. Acosta. To approve the third reading of ordinance number 20-1122. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Councilmember Grijalva?
Yes.
Councilmember Montenegro?
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton?
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta?
Yes.
Councilmember Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Mayor votes yes, motion carries. Ms. Andrade?
An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the sale of a semi-improved parcel of land located on the 900 block of Second Street, namely lots 11 and 12 within parcel number 409-14-093C to Joseph L. Garcia and Maria de la Luz Garcia, husband and wife, pursuant to terms entered into by the parties, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. Item number 10, discussion decision on approval of first reading of ordinance number 20-1123, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the sale of a semi-improved parcel of land located on the southwest corner of 9th Street and H Avenue, lots 30 through 32, block 84 of Douglas Town Site, as parcel number 409-07048 to Leslie Harold Blank III Trust, pursuant to terms entered into by the parties, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof. Who wants to go first?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Luis Pedrosa is going to be giving the update from the council on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Pedrosa.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Mr. Harold Blank and the city have been involved in discussions, and he expressed interest in the purchase of the 9th and H Street vacant property that the city owns. It's located just west of the Art Car World, where he is currently in the process of renovating and bringing that up for opening to the public. Mr. Harold Blank made an offer $27,000 for that lot, which is the fair market value compared to other properties that have sold. And within the proposed transaction, the city would recommend that we do some preparations of the lot, which means grading and surveying the property to get it in some improved form. So the intent is for Mr. Harold Blank to add some parking there for his museum and to add some further improvements. Mr. Harold Blank is in the audience here today, and he's available if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Pedrosa. May I have a motion to approve the placement?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mrs. Acosta.
I recommend that mayor and council approve the placement of ordinance number 20-1123 on its first reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Valdenegro, to place ordinance number 20-1123 on first reading by number and title only. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Councilmember Lindemann?
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta?
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton?
Yes.
Councilmember Montenegro?
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor?
Mayor votes yes, motion carries.
An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the sale of a semi-improved parcel of land located on the southwest corner of 9th Street and H Avenue as lots 30 to 32, block 84 of Douglas Town Site, as parcel number 409-07-048 to Leslie Harold Blank III Trust, pursuant to terms entered into by the parties, establishing severability of components of ordinance and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you, Ms. Andrade. May I have a motion to approve the first reading?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mrs. Acosta.
I recommend that mayor and council approve the first reading of ordinance number 20-1123 and to place it on second reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, seconded by Mr. Valdenegro to approve the first reading of ordinance number 20-1123 and to place it on second reading by number and title only. Any discussion?
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Lindeman, please.
I'm just wondering, does Mr. Blank want to make a statement?
I would, if you'd like to, Mr. Blank, you're more than welcome to come up and address us and accept our gratitude for wanting to improve Douglas.
Well, thank you all for considering this, and I haven't addressed you all with my vision for this, so it might be a good idea to let you know what I'm planning on trying to do.
Please.
Basically, I want to make a public area that is integrating art, trees, landscaping, shrines, and a place where people can be comfortable, and it's for the public. This is not about me. It's sort of like when I went to Houston for these art car parades over the years of my life, and I saw the parking lots, they're all cement, and I always thought, that's so stupid. They missed such a great opportunity. They could have done something. They could have had landscaping. They could have done, they could have had park benches. And they missed the point. And those parking lots, you park your car, you want to get out of there as fast as you can and go do what you're doing. But I want to make a place where you park your car and you might sit there on your phone for 5 minutes and just enjoy the ambiance, which is going to be art. There's going to be 3 shrines where the benches that are covered and the public can actually sit down. And I'd like to actually have the community of Douglas help in building these shrines so they can actually feel that it's theirs and it's part of Douglas. And an idea I got recently was 2 giant arches of metal supports hanging a giant chandelier. And then those points that come down from the sky would go into the shrine bench areas, which would be next to a tree and possibly other stuff, and ornate metalwork and stained glass and mosaic tile work, and just a really cool place to be. And it sort of mimics the voice of the Art Car Museum that I'm trying to build. So it'll all kind of be integrated. And I'm open to whoever wants to be there. It's just not, like I said, it's not just for me. I really want to propose it as a City of Douglas project, but I think the City of Douglas, we're going to try to work together and make it nice. And that's the vision.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Blanket. And we, if you can bring a few more of you into town, bring them.
I always said, I came here in 2005, and I always said if I had 5 more people like me that came to Douglas, this place would pop. And unfortunately, it's been really slow, but I think maybe that's starting to change. I have a lot of visitors, and they're from all over the world. And so these visitors are now coming back, which is interesting. So I think we're going to make a mark, but it's going to take a little more time.
And I appreciate that. It's going to take all of us, and that's why I truly appreciate, and the council truly appreciates your efforts there.
Thank you.
Does the council have anything that they'd like to address Mr. Blank on?
Mayor, I would just like to say thank you again for what you're doing down here and revitalizing this town. I know it's a slow process. I've been here 32 years, and it's a slow process. But thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll stay in touch on it, and we'll chip away at it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
All right.
Oh, Mr. Shelton?
I know I mentioned this the first time I was on the council, but yesterday, there were 3 people down where Jones's is, and they were looking at all the architect that is in Douglas. You don't realize it, but there's people that come here just to take pictures and to enjoy the architect that we have in our buildings. And this one fellow said, I would talk to several years ago, he says, I come back almost every year to Douglas and enjoy the architect. He said, I just walk around, take pictures, just like the 3 people were doing yesterday, and I was wondering that might have been him, you know, with these other two. But Douglas has a lot to offer if we just get it out there.
Well, I kind of learned the hard way that when you take an old building like this and you try to remodel it, fix it up, it's actually in many ways harder than if you just started with a new building. But that voice and that spirit and the history that went into building that place is still there, and you can feel it. So I think that's one aspect of Douglas that is cool, is this history that you can actually feel. Now, if more buildings get remodeled and taken care of, the whole place is going to become more revitalized, I think. And then I'm adding a twist to it. I'm trying to throw a little bit of identity into what we're doing. And that identity, I hope that the majority of the people appreciate and like. And that identity is what I think is going to help actually put Douglas more on the map in architecture and in art, a place where there's something you'll never find anywhere else. I mean, right now, Douglas has the biggest art car museum in the world. It's just not open yet. And I have the assets, but I don't have the building done yet. So I'm fighting, trying to keep up and get this thing done. But one day we'll get there, and it'll be on the map. Douglas, the biggest art car museum in the world.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, I kept it kind of a secret because I don't want people to be pounding down my door wanting tours when I'm trying to work. So I haven't, and I'm also very tied to the media. So I'm a filmmaker by trade, and so once I do get this done, it's gonna blow the doors down. But I'm not there yet, so I gotta keep it low.
Appreciate it. Yes, one more, Mr. Ray. I'm sorry.
I just
Mr.
want to
Costa?
thank you for your uniqueness, and I can see your passion for this project, so thank you so much, because it is going to be a good asset for our community, so.
Excellent, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Ray.
Right on, thank
Appreciate
you
it.
all. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms.
Have a good
Andrade,
one.
roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Montenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, motion carries. Ms. Andrade?
in ordinance of the Mayor and Council of the City of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, authorizing the sale of a semi-improved parcel of land located on the southwest corner of 9th Street and H Avenue as lots 30 to 32, block 84, of Douglas Town Site as parcel number 409-07-048, with Leslie Harold Blank III Trust, pursuant to terms entered into by the parties, establishing severability of components of ordinance, and establish an effective date thereof.
Thank you. Item number 11, discussion decision on approval of first reading of ordinance number 20-1124, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, confirming certain modifications, Title 8 of the Douglas Municipal Code relating to health and safety by amending ordinance 461, 465, 548, 810, 10-977, and 18-1080. Under Chapter 8.04, regulating alarm systems, establishing severability of components of ordinance, and establishing an effective date thereof.
Mayor, Juan is going to give this presentation since it is an ordinance that's going to modify our code.
Thank you. Mr. Flores, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Would it be okay if I present from my desk here?
That would be fine.
Thank you, sir. So anyway, this is an alarm system ordinance modification due to the fact that when we did the modifications in 2018, some of it was light on the regulations, and we needed to kind of beef it up a little bit and make it more inclusive so as to more accurately reflect the statutory provisions that relate to alarm system local regulation. So there's some clerical modifications, edits to it, but it'll basically remain substantially the same to the ordinance that was proposed in 2018, Mr. Mayor, members of council.
Proposed and passed.
Proposed and passed, what happened is, like I said, there was a little light on the regulations, and now we're gonna beef it up a little bit.
Well, I appreciate you catching that, Mr. Flores, and bringing that to our attention.
Thank you, sir.
May I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Acosta?
I recommend the mayor and council approve the placement of ordinance number 20-1124 on its first reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Acosta, second by Mr. Shelton to approve the placement of ordinance number 20-1124 on its first reading by number and title only. If you don't mind, I'll hold on to the discussion till we get to the approval of the first reading, if that's okay with everyone. Okay. I know Mr. Lindeman has some items he'd like to bring up. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Montenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Mayor votes yes, motion carries. Ms. Andrade?
an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, confirming certain modifications to Title 8 of the Douglas Municipal Code relating to health and safety by amending ordinances 461, 465, 548, 810, 10-977, and 18-1080 under Chapter 8.04, regulating alarm systems, establishing severability of components of ordinance, and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the first reading?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Shelton?
I recommend the mayor and council approve the first reading of ordinance number 20-1124 to place it on second reading by number and title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second by Mrs. Acosta to approve the first reading of ordinance number 20-1124 and place it on second reading by number and title only. Mr. Lindeman?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This particular item caught my eye, and I'm feeling that sometimes government intrusion into a homeowner or everyday life is needless. I don't think that we need to have all these regulations. And as I'm pointing out here, 8.04.030A under permits. A permit shall be required for each alarm system, electronic or audible, on any commercial or residential premises. I don't believe that a homeowner needs to, when they're trying to protect their home and their family, have to get government's approval. And I don't believe that there should be a permit system for that. And I think that this is one of those times that government overreaches needlessly. And so I don't approve of this at all. You know, what you do in your home to protect yourself is your business, not anybody else's. And I don't think that we should have to pay a fee for that privilege. So that's my point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lindeman, for bringing that point to our attention. Any other questions or discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Flores, please.
the fee only applies to commercial establishments, to businesses. There is no fee for homeowners, but we do require a permit, and it's for record-keeping purposes for the police department, because sometimes they have to respond to the various false alarms, and that takes up a lot of their time and resource and efforts. I think the ordinance remains viable, and most of the provisions help the police department in their regulation. So just throwing that out there for future consideration.
Mr. Flores, could I please ask you then to send something out to us explaining that and which sections and all of those kind of things to the council so that we can have that in front of us for the next reading?
Absolutely.
In our next meeting? Would that help, Mr. Lindeman?
Yeah, certainly.
Right.
And I can gather more information. What I would like to know generally is how many false alarms are happening. I don't believe there's that many. You know, this is a quiet town. I don't believe that there's any mischief going on, and of course, then my basic premise is that's the job of the police, to go check things out and keep us safe.
Thank you, Mr. Lemon. Ms. Prince, could you please have that information also for
Absolutely.
the council for next time?
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion, comments? Those are two good points, so. And of course, if you do have other questions, please filter them over there in the interim, and then we'll have them all open so for the public to see it and everything along those lines. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lindemann,
Yes.
Councilmember Acosta,
Yes.
Councilmember Shelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Montenegro,
Yes.
Councilmember Grijalva,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Mayor votes yes, motion carries. Ms. Andrade?
An ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Douglas, Cochise County, Arizona, confirming certain modifications to Title 8 of the Douglas Municipal Code relating to health and safety by amending ordinances 461, 465, 548, 810, 10-977, and 1810-1080 under Chapter 8.04, regulating alarm systems, establishing severability of components of ordinance, and establishing an effective date thereof.
Thank you. Item number 12, presentation discussion by CivTech pertaining to the transit facility site selection process that we find ourselves in. Ms. Prince?
Luis is going to, Mr. Pedrosa is going to introduce our speakers from September.
Mr. Pedrosa, please.
Thank you. Good evening again, Mayor, members of council. As you know, the city embarked on performing a transit site selection as we're running out of room within our existing operations at the visitor center. The city received a grant from ADOT to be able to perform this study, and we went out to bid, and the city selected the company CivTech to perform this study. They've already begun their efforts to in the study, as is shown in your packet. We've already developed a transit advisory committee that has already been previewed to the sites that we're going to be shown today, and are now involved in that process as well. Today we have Mr. Michael James and Andy Alfonso from CivTech will be presenting as part of our process and part of the public process that this transit facility site study must take, and for information of the public to let everybody know as to where we're at and the sites that we're going to consider.
Thank you, Mr. Pedrosa, and welcome, Mr. James and Ms. Antando. We welcome you to Douglas and appreciate your efforts for us. And so if you would, I know you have a presentation for us, and I know it's going to touch on the process, so I think it'll be very interesting to all of us.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. It's a pleasure to be here presenting to you on this topic. So let's see if this works here. Great. So as part of the presentation overview, I really wanted to start about, and Mr. Pedrosa mentioned it, the public participation. Part of our public participation is to make sure that people can get to and home from meetings such as this. So one of the things that we did is we have a free ride voucher for anyone in the audience here today. If they need a ride home, we can get a voucher. The city has provided a transit vehicle to give rides home after this meeting if they so choose. Additionally, we have the opportunity to use that bus to go and tour those sites. If anyone here is interested, we can jump on and pretty quickly look at the 6 sites that we're considering after this meeting. So that's an open offer to you as well as members of the audience here today. I think that's a pretty innovative way to get out and see the different sites.
Mr. James, will there be other opportunities should not be available this evening?
Absolutely, yeah. We will have a second public meeting. I'll talk about that when I go through the work plan. So rather than take time on the overview, I'll just jump right into the presentation. And Mr. Pedrosa mentioned really the purpose and need a little bit at the beginning. I'm going to add a little bit of more information about that. right now, transit operations, they are working out of the visitor center, and they're sharing a customer service space with a lot of those visitors that are coming in and want to learn about the city and the history and what's going on, in a space where you also have staff working with folks with special needs or transit activities that may be sensitive, or they may be just dealing with an incident or a collision with one of the drivers on the phone. So the two activities really don't support each other as far as having a secure office space and really a way to serve the customers for both transit as well as your visitor center. Those are both very, really important functions. So the objective and really the purpose and need of this study is to identify a site or sites that can accommodate a transit administrative office with customer service functions. Ideally, that location will really serve as a centralized transfer facility for the community, bringing people together that need to access transit and parts of your city. And then secondly, a location where you can have a secured vehicle location to park your transit fleet. Another big part of this, as was mentioned previously, was that for the use of the federal funds and in the future to secure federal funds for these types of projects, which is very much available, you need to conduct environmental clearance on any of the sites. And so that's what SIBTech we're doing as far as the selection and the clearance of your identified sites so that you can move forward with grant funding in the future. So tonight we really just want to introduce those sites, have an opportunity to discuss those with you. And we're not seeking a specific recommendation today. So it's really the first chance to introduce these. You can go home, you can think about it. If you have additional comments or anyone in the community, we'll have a way for you to email those in. Very quickly, I don't want to go through every point on the study work plan, but I'll hit on some key notes. We started the project back in June. We have completed the future and existing and future conditions report, looking at the conditions for transit operating and where those facilities could work well. And we held our first Transit Advisory Committee meeting on October 21st and to really discuss different sites and then move forward with the 6 sites that we're presenting today. Moving forward, we will have our second TAC meeting where we'll be evaluating the sites after we've heard from you and the community. And then documenting that information, moving forward with the environmental report, clearance, and then finalizing that study for you. The next slide really just shows kind of where the 6 sites we're considering are in Douglas. And I won't go through these on this slide because we're looking at them. I've got individual slides where I can be talking about each of those. But you can see we're looking at a range of sites. Some sites would not accommodate all the uses that we're looking at. For example, one of the sites we're looking at is the Public Works and Maintenance Facility Yard, Site 6. That would only be considered for fleet storage. We would not want to have a transit administration building so far away from the central part of the city. So with that, I will move to the individual sites. Going to the first site, Pan American and G Avenue, where G Avenue turns into kind of 16th Street, right at the entry as you're coming from the west of town. There's a vacant parcel in the northwest corner that can be used for an administration building and fleet storage. The area is across the street from the existing visitor center. And it's not really, doesn't have a lot of activity around it. There's the credit union next door, but it's not really kind of centrally located where there's a lot of other activities around it. We did notice in our evaluation a couple other concerns. A safety concern at 16th Street and Pan American. We noticed a higher than normal number of collisions at that location. Somewhat a little bit of a awkward intersection because people are coming from the west on 16th, and they may be taking a left. They may be going across into the credit union, or maybe taking a right, where speeds are transitioning down as people are coming into town. So that was a concern. We also noted that found that there was a leaking underground storage tank at the former Chevron, now Tadio's Automotive, on the orange dot you see on the slide. So a little bit of a concern with those two items. Site 2 is really in the heart of your downtown at 9th Street and G, the vacant southeast corner. There's 3 parcels that we identified there, all privately owned. This site would not be able to host fleet storage. It's just not large enough and probably not appropriate land use for what you're looking to do in revitalizing your downtown. As far as the context, great walking environment, well served by transit, so it could be a very, very good node for your transit customer service functions and bringing people into the downtown. Again, we did notice a concentration of collisions on 10th Street. Not so much a concern per se for this individual site. That's something you might want to have your engineering department look at. And we can share that information outside of this study as well. Is that true?
Mr. Mayor, can I make a question?
Yes, Mr. Rittman.
Looking at site one, there's a big unimproved area east of the credit union, and that could serve its purpose also. I don't know if you looked at that. It's just right there. It's less traffic, and in my mind, it could be improved, and yet it would be close to our G Avenue.
Yeah, we did notice that parcel was available for sale as well. We didn't actually go and take a look at it, but we'll take a look at that site, look at the size, and see what might fit on that as well. Thank you.
I know we don't want to go on the great discussion, but that's a great suggestion. It could be a flooding issue too down through there, but it's definitely something
Okay.
To take a look at. We'll
Okay.
see if it merits any more.
Okay, we'll take a look at that. Okay, moving on to site number 3. This is at First and F Avenue, where the existing fleet storage is happening today, on the west portion of that parcel. This is a little bit more of a industrial area. It's kind of right on the edge where industrial starts moving into residential to the west. There is a sidewalk on First Street, but besides First Street, there's not a lot of good pedestrian accessibility with sidewalks at that location. But again, one of the benefits of this site that it is a city-owned property, and we didn't see any other safety or environmental concerns with that site. Site number 4 is just down the street at First Street and H, very near the port of entry. You can see there's a large available vacant parcel, privately owned, that could accommodate transit building, fleet storage, and on-site transit center. So just another location kind of south, really right on the border, adjacent to the port. Again, we did see a high concentration of collisions in that small stretch between the port and kind of where the site starts on First Street. So it's just an area where pedestrians are really encouraged to walk to the west and cross the very nice pedestrian linear park you have there. But I would imagine that a lot of people, I notice a lot of people walking to the west, and so there's not really a clear sidewalk or delineation in that small stretch, and there's a lot of big freight trucks as well. So not really a surprise that there was a higher number of collisions in that with those conditions. Site 5 was a site that was recommended to look at from our Transit Advisory Committee. And so this is a site that's mostly owned by the city. There are some private parcels in there. It's the site at 3rd and Chiricahua, where APS is currently doing the environmental soil remediation. So, again, it's just south of your kind of commercial, your new commercial area, where one of the real issues or concerns that we saw with this was getting buses in and out of the site, considering the traffic going back to Mexico along 3rd. So you would need to have some signalized intersection to make sure that the buses could get in and out and access ways, so that they wouldn't get stuck, in a line of traffic on the transit site. So another site that we are looking at. And finally, Site 6, as I mentioned earlier, this is the city maintenance and public works yard that could be considered for fleet storage only. Again, city-owned parcel, 10 acres, and we're still actually waiting for the environmental review on this piece, but we don't see any safety concerns with this site. So those are the 6 sites that we're considering, and just wanted to touch a little bit on how do we make this decision, or what's important in thinking about siting these transit facilities. So really comes down to 5 key factors. The first is we want to make sure that the land use compatibility and the location really is enhancement to your community and the goals that you're trying to achieve. Not just that it works for transit, but does it bring people together to your downtown? Does it make accessing health and other important destinations important? Is it user friendly? So, and work with your land use plans. Secondly, we want to make sure that there's transportation accessibility to and from the sites, and that it's safe. Always important to make sure that we're putting our customers in a safe condition. Cost is always a consideration. As you know, operating a city here, we have to look at the cost and what is the best value for our residents. As you've seen earlier, we look at environmental factors and make sure that we're not taking any undue risks. And finally, we want to make sure that we have the ability to accommodate future growth and not go in somewhere where that doesn't work down the line. So I'm not going to obviously read through all of the individual criteria, but as a team and the Transit Advisory Committee, what we're going to do is we're going to basically develop a scoring system for each of these evaluation criteria that address those 5 key factors, and make sure that, hey, is this site really working for the bigger picture for our plans for the city? I will mention one of the criteria. 3rd bullet from the top was one of the criteria that came out of the Transit Advisory Committee, is that we want to make sure that these facilities support downtown revitalization and the work that we're doing to attract people and businesses and great art and museums, to Douglas, as we heard earlier. So our next steps are really to, after we have had an opportunity to get your feedback from the community, is we will meet as the TAC again and go through a scoring exercise looking at these 6 sites, as well as the additional site that was mentioned today to look at. And we will identify a preferred site or sites to bring back to the public and you as well in January or February, and then get your input, feedback, community's feedback, and then identify a location for moving forward with the environmental clearance documentation. So that's really what we're up to. It's been really great working here. On Monday, I was down canvassing and handing out flyers about this meeting and the project study to all the adjacent property owners to the 6 sites, and got to talk to, about a dozen people and what they thought. And I just wanted to share a few of the words that I heard when I was talking to different folks about this study. The first thing is they were very much interested in any activities that could bring more people into the heart of downtown, particularly the 9th and G location. A lot of the businesses along G Avenue are really looking for opportunities for revitalization, more people, more shoppers, more people really enjoying the great downtown. We had one person who said, hey, wouldn't this be great as additional parking for downtown? Or a place where we could have a food truck event, something like that. So, kind of similar comments. On the other sites, in talking to folks out at some of the sites south of kind of the downtown area, they're like, well, this could really work for fleet storage, but it doesn't really bring the type of revitalization that we really want to see into the downtown. So that was really a common thing that I heard from the 10 to 12 people that I spoke with that were actually there. In addition to that, I would mention that I did get to hand out flyers to about 70 businesses at the 6 different sites. So really just an opportunity to try to get the word out to businesses that, hey, we're not doing this study in the dark, and that if you need to participate, we had handouts for contact information, and we're happy to share information or respond. So with that, I'll leave it to your questions or discussion.
Thank you, Mr. James, for that presentation. Council have any questions or anything you'd like to do? I think it was very thorough, so you may not get any questions.
Very, thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you, Mr. James and Ms. Antondo. Thanks for coming down.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Mr. Pedrosa, anything else that you need from us at this time?
Mr. Mayor, no, we will be coming back to you, as Mr. James said. And please feel free to fill out those cards with your thoughts. We'd love feedback. Just so you know, Mr. James just stated the criteria. Our goals in mind are we need space. We need our own space where unfortunately we're having to share our space with the visitor center. It's just not a good way that we can receive our ridership there. And we're looking to be accessible to the public, as you mentioned. Accessibility is a big important aspect of it, and every site has its good, it brings something to the table, but there's also some drawbacks. So, and I think Mr. James very well explained it. But those are our goals. We need our own space, and we need accessibility to the public. We want to market ourselves as being out there, being available to the public. We serve about 50% of our ridership is elderly disabled. Being at the corner of both of Highway 80 and Pan American, a very busy intersection, it's not really accessible to somebody in a wheelchair, somebody that's elderly disabled. So they probably won't come and see us there. But if we're more centrally located, accessible, where they're already doing business, we might be able to serve a little bit better.
Excellent. Thank you. Item number 13, City Manager Report. Ms. Prince.
I have no reports today.
Thank you very much. Item number 14, informational items and reports from council on future agenda item request. Hearing none?
Mayor?
Almost. Mr. Grava.
I was giving everybody else a chance.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to again thank the food bank. And again, it's only a few hours. Whoever can help out, it's greatly appreciated. They're understaffed. They're looking for volunteers, and again, it's greatly needed. I want to thank Interim City Manager Don Prince. He took me out for a few tours, out to the airport, to the golf course, and to the Douglas Police Department. I would encourage my colleagues to go take those tours also before we vote on any budget issues, before all those things come before us, because I don't think we know the current conditions of those facilities. So I'd like to thank her again, and again encourage my colleagues to do the same.
Thank you, Mr. Grava. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, sorry.
Any
Just wanna
serious
remind-
counsel, from council, and... Go ahead, Mr. Barosa, please.
Just want to remind everybody that we do have a bus outside, whoever
Thank you.
would like to ride it, you're more than welcome to take the tour.
We'll meet out on the north steps in that area if you'd like to ride the bus.
Thank you.
Thank you. May I have item number 15, adjournment? May I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Shelton, second. Anyone?
Second?
Second by Mrs. Acosta to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. We stand adjourned at 7:14.
Thank you.